chaos and nonsense will reign supreme.
You're on a different road, I'm in the Milky Way. You want me down on Earth, but I am up in space. You're so damn hard to please, we gotta kill this switch. You're from the 70s, but I'm in 90s. I don't care, I love it. I don't care, I love it. I love it, I don't care. I love it, I don't care. I love it, I love it, I don't care. Yeah, under my umbrella. I don't care.
Chaos and nonsense will reign supreme.
So apparently the invention of the umbrella can be traced back like 3,500 years to a Chinese legend, a carpenter and inventor by the name of Lu Ban. Yep, apparently he was inspired by children using lotus leaves as rain shelter. So he made some flexible framework and covered it with cloth, and voila, the first umbrella was born. I'd also like to mention that drawing an umbrella was actually a pain in the ass. I tried it first on my iPad, then again with good old pen and paper. So why'd I pick umbrellas for this episode? Well, it was the first U word that came to mind, that and unicorn. But after I wrote a little flash fiction piece involving a unicorn holding an umbrella, I ultimately decided to go with umbrella for the theme. Now here's the before-mentioned story. The black sky starts to lighten into a deep burgundy with far-off flashes of orange on the horizon. Slowly, a white unicorn holding a lime-green umbrella in its mouth floats down to the ground. It lands on a barren rocky outcrop next to a large purple couch that seems very out of place. With a flash of blue light, a velociraptor appears standing behind the couch. The unicorn and the velociraptor look at each other. The velociraptor makes a move to hop over the couch, just as another flash of blue light goes off, revealing a woman sitting on the couch in black and gold battle armor. "Well, what the fuck do we have here?" says the woman. "Speak," she commands, lifting her left hand and pointing first at the unicorn, then at the velociraptor. "Speak now." "Look, lady." The last thing I knew, I was happily minding my own business playing with this magic flying umbrella I just bought in the field next to my cave, and then a blue flash of light, and I was in the sky here drifting down to this couch. "And you." Both the woman and the unicorn turned to look at the velociraptor who was trying to sneak away. I was out hunting with my pack, sprinting around the left-hand side of a herd of herbies, when I was blinded by a blue light. And then I found myself here. Now you might be wondering why the unicorn and the velociraptor were so forthcoming with information to this strange unknown woman. And well, that's because they were both instinctively afraid of the power and anger that was radiating out of her. You may also be thinking how they could speak her language, and the answer to that was because, well, unicorns can speak any and all languages. And as for the velociraptor, well, it was actually a time-traveling and shape-shifting unicorn who'd been hiding out with the dinosaurs since he told his wife and kids he was going out to get some milk 15 years ago. And no, not all unicorns can shape-shift or time-travel. This bad father just happened to be a really powerful. As for the poor fool with the umbrella, he didn't even process enough soul energy to fly unaided, hence the magical umbrella. As for the woman, no, they ridiculously powerful and pissed off witch who wanted to figure out how she'd been transported from sitting on the edge of her bed after killing her lover to sitting on this couch. She had a body to dispose of and a bed to remake, for fuck's sake. Another flash of blue light and Ulysses is the unicorn we first spotted with the lime green flying umbrella, was transported to somewhere else entirely. Good thing too, for he was far too sweet to be anywhere near those other two assholes. But sadly, Ulysses the unicorn now found himself without his umbrella, and he burst into tears. Oh dear, let's go see what has happened to his umbrella. It was now somehow laying in a purple bathtub that was filled with what looked like purple jelly, surrounded by what looked like the eucalypt forest. "Hi there," said a voice from somewhere the umbrella couldn't figure out. The speaker was standing next to the bathtub, but they were invisible and had been invisible to everyone, including themselves, since that angry witch we met earlier had cursed them. But hey, at least they weren't dead and they'd gotten a good root out of it beforehand. Although at this point they weren't sure if it had been worth it. The invisible man lifting the umbrella out of the bathtub. "My name's Eddie and I'm invisible." "Oh, hi Eddie, I'm Phil." Yes, it turns out the umbrella could talk. It just never liked anybody enough to bother talking to them. But seeing as Eddie had just pulled them out of the jelly they had been stuck in, and that he was Phil thought it might be worth his while. "Did you put this bathtub here?" "No, sorry, buddy, that wasn't me." But it totally was him. In fact, all the random purple things popping up all over the place was in fact Eddie's doing, because he was bored shitless after 6 months of pretending to be a ghost and scaring people. Then another 2 months wandering around his favorite forest crying. He'd now been roaming around placing purple things in places they seemed out of place for 5 years. What he wasn't responsible for, though, was the blue flashes and people being transported all over the place against their will. The flashy teleportations was the work of Bob, and trust me, you don't want to know about Bob. Best leave Bob be for now. "Well, thanks for getting me out of that bathtub, Eddie, but I gotta fly." Phil flung himself open, popping the invisible Eddie in the face, and flew off out of his hand and into the sky as fast as he could go. Alone and free at last, was what Phil was thinking, when a flash of blue light lit up the sky, and suddenly there was a
Boeing 747 jumbo jet
directly in front of them. Poor Phil didn't have time to react before he collided with the
Boeing 747 jumbo jet
Heaven's windscreen, and the life was knocked out of him. The end. So, I can't claim all this episode's content as my own. Obviously, there is footage and music I nicked, but I did do the drawings and use AI to record this voiceover and my silly little story. I then jammed it all together into the mess you just experienced with your eyeballs and ears. Sorry, not sorry, and thank you for watching. Lots of love from some dude named Sarah.
Peace! Bullshit.